Hey guys, how's it going? Black Boy in a Band here, and today we're going to talk about a little something I do when I don't have a lot of time to practice. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it. All right, guys. So, like I said, today we are going to be talking about practicing and mainly focusing on when you don't have a lot of time to practice. Now, I told you guys before that I recently got a promotion at work. And because of that, I now work 11-hour shifts just while I'm in the training status. Which means when I come home, I really don't have a lot of time, or let's be honest, the energy to do a whole lot of practicing, because I normally like to practice anywhere from 30 minutes to a full hour. But sometimes I'm only able to get 10 minutes of practicing in. So how am I able to get a good practice out of only having 10 minutes available? Well, very simple. I play two scales, and I know I alluded in my last video that scales are not the funnest things to play. They're not the funnest things to practice, but trust me, they really help out with building up your skill. So today I'm going to talk about the two scales that I generally play and how you can level them up, or how there's different levels of intensity or toughness to improve your scales. Now, I'm going to talk about the first scale, which I like to call the whole note scale. And I'm going to demonstrate it right here on my LTD Viper 104 bass. I'm pretty sure I did a review of this bass. I got this bass a long time ago, and I love it. So, but it hasn't been getting enough play, so I decided to show it some love today. Anyways, so for the first scale that I play, which I jokingly call the whole note scale, is I play just the first three whole notes on the top three strings, and the first four whole notes on the first string. So let's quickly run through those notes. On the top string, fourth string, or the E string, we play E, which is the open note. Then we go to F, which is the first fret, and then we move down to G, which is the third fret. Boom. Now we move on to the A string, and just like the E string, the first note A is the open fret. So A. Then we move to B, which is on the second fret, and then we play C, which is the third fret. Nice. Now we move down to the D string, and just like the A string, we play open 2, 3, which are D, E, F. And now we move on to the last string, or the first string, the G string. And like I said, this one, instead of playing the first three, we play the first four. Now that's G, which is open. Then we go A, which is the second string. Then B, I'm sorry, not second string, second fret. A is the second fret. Then B, which is the fourth fret. And we finish it off with C, which is the fifth fret. Now, that's a descending scale. And at the end, when we hit this C, we just walk it back. So B, A, G, up to the D string, F, E, D, back to the A string with C, then B, then A, and I'll finish it off on the E string with G, F, E. And that's it. That's the first scale, the whole note scale. So once again, I'm just going to quickly run through it. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, A, D, I'm sorry, C, B, A, G, F, E. And that's it. Now, before I talk about how you can increase the level, let's talk about the second scale, okay? And I jokingly call this the slight movement or the slight shift scale. And the reason why is because you have to shift your position of your hands. Not a whole lot and not all the time, but just very slightly. And the way how this starts out is we're going to start off on the A string with C, with the note C, which is on the 3rd fret. Then we move down to the D string and we play the notes E, F, F sharp, and G, which are 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we move down to the G string and we play A, B, A sharp, B, C, back up to A sharp, back up to A. And that's just 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we slide back up to 3, then to 2. And then we come back to the D string and we play G sharp, G, F, and E. Now, this is where the slide comes in. So we start off with the G sharp, which is on the 6th fret, and then the G, which is the 5th. Then we skip the 4th, and this is where you would shift your slide your hand, shift your hand again, that to the 3rd fret, which is F. Finish it off with the 2nd fret, which is the note E. And then to end this mini scale, little scale off, we go back to the A string and we land on the 5th fret, which is D. And then you restart it all back again on the 3rd fret of the A string, which is C. So, click play, C. So, real quickly, once again, C, E, F, F sharp, G, A sharp, B, C, A sharp, A, slide, shift, G sharp, G, slide again, shift, skip 4 to 3, F, E, and then back up to 5 to the 5th fret on the A string, which is D. So that's just walking through them. Now here I will show you me actually playing through them in just a stereotypical practice setting. All right, guys. Now, with that out of the way, let's talk about how you can ramp these things up for improvement on skills and toughness. First off, after you learn the notes and the positions of that, okay, first thing you can do is start off with a metronome. Okay, start off with something easy like 50 or 100 BPMs. And what you want to do is all you're focusing on is just playing the scale in timing. So for let's go with the whole note scale, just playing it in timing would be something like this. Very simple, just playing and timing. So, like I said, you start off with something simple, easy, either 50 or 100 BPMs. And then I recommend, once you feel comfortable with that, increasing the increments, increasing the tempo or the beats per minute, BPMs, by 50. So if you started off with 50, you would jump up to 100, then 150, then 200, and you keep going on and going on. Now, what this does is this allows you to stay in timing and move faster and faster and faster. But this is where things start to get critical, because once you move faster and faster and faster, you start to get sloppy and you start to get flying fingers, are what some people in the music industry call them. Now, what are flying fingers? Flying fingers are when you are playing fast and your fretting hand, or the fingers on your fretting hand, are just not looking good. So how do we work with this? Well, once you, let's just say, reach 200 BPMs on just playing and timing, now we bump it back down to about 100 or 50, wherever you feel comfortable. And the next thing we do is we work on the fretting hand. Now, what you want to do is, and this is kind of hard for me because I have metal screws in my wrist, so I can't really extend my hands, or I can't open up my hands as far as I used to do. But what you want to do is, when you play one note, a fretted note, let's just stick with the whole note right now, whole note scale, and we're going to take this on the A string. When you push one note down, okay, so when I hit the B, like that, instead of picking my finger off the B and putting my ring finger down on the C, instead of picking up my middle finger, what I do is I play the B with my middle finger, and then I put my ring finger down on the C. See that? One more time. B, C. Now, what this does is a couple of things. One, it allows you to play the note clearly with using less energy and less motion, rather than picking one finger up and going to the next one, right? Boom, real easy. Less energy, less momentum. Nice. Now, also, sometimes, depending on how fast you play or whatnot, when you pick your finger up, you could accidentally have an open A, so which could cause some like not sounding tight and just not sounding tight. So instead of going like this, okay, and having a nice little ring out, you could go just like this. Now, when you do that, like I said, now that we're focusing on fretting and having a nice consistent boom, boom, putting fingers down, and also, I should have said this before, this also works in backwards, okay? Boom. One more time. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's nice. But what this does is it allows you to use less energy, so that way your hands aren't getting tired, you're not getting tired. You hit the notes more clean, more tighter, so they come through clearer, and it's just all around good fretting technique with the fretting hand. Now, like I said, sometimes it's hard for me because, like I said, I have metal screws. I was in a car accident when I was younger. I had to get metal screws placed in my wrist, and so I can't really open up my hands as wide. So sometimes I do, unfortunately, pick fingers up to, I don't use this as much as I should. I do sometimes pick up a finger and then place the other one down, but I digress. Anyways, like I said, you start off with that at your desired starting 50, 100 BPMs, and you go through both these scales. Boom, boom, boom. And when you feel comfortable, you bump it up 50 BPMs. So once again, you start off at 50, do it to 100. When you feel comfortable at 100, you bump it up to 150. And then when you bump that up, and when you feel comfortable then you bump it up to 200. Now, what these also do, right, is they also teach you how to secure, right, your picking hand or your plucking hand, depending on what you do. You can play with a pick, you can play with your fingers. I play with both. It just depends on how I'm feeling. Now, what this does is, by this time, okay, we've already got playing down in timing, and now we're working on fretting. But because you're doing this, what you don't realize is with your picking or plucking hand, your fingers are getting stronger, so that way you can play faster and clearer. Now, something that's also very important is not the notes that you play, but the notes that you don't play, and learning proper muting technique. This is where you can focus on your muting with your picking hand or your fretting hand. But for this, let's just concentrate on your picking hand. Now, what I like to do when I'm using fingers is when I'm playing the E string, I rest my thumb on the top of my pickup, and I just hit the string. Now, normally that's good, and I just use my fretting hand, if it's an open note, to lightly rest on the other string, so that way they don't vibrate and you don't get dead notes or just strings vibrating out of pitch. But now what happens when I hit the lower strings? So when I'm using the A string, what I have is my thumb resting on the E string, and I use my fingers to pluck the A string. Now when I play the D string, I place my thumb on the A string, and I rest the heel or the side of my thumb right here on the E string. So that way the E is deaded. See, that's the E string and the A string. They're deaded. And I do the same thing when I play the G string. I place my thumb on the D string, and I rest the side on the A and the E. Now what this does is this mutes the other strings, so that way they don't ring out. Now, when I say ring out, it takes a lot of energy to move a bass string. Why? Because unlike guitar strings, bass strings are thicker in order to hit the lower registry or the lower notes. But that means because it takes so much effort to move one string, you can normally get the other strings just vibrating just by the inertia or the friction of just hitting one string. So it's very important to learn proper muting technique. And that's where, like I said, that's where this comes in handy, because not only are you concentrating on playing and timing, not only are you concentrating on fretting, but you're also concentrating now on muting, proper muting technique, and making sure you only hear the notes that you want to hear. Once again, as per the other two things, you start off with a BPM that you're comfortable with, 50. When you feel comfortable and you feel you got the hang of it, you bump it up to 100, then 150, then 200, and so forth and so on. Now, the good thing is, like I said before, This is just a simple 10-minute exercise. You don't need to be spending a whole lot of time on this. Why? Because these are just something that A, keeps you going, B, helps you learn the skills, or scales, not skills, 3, or C, helps you master and get a good grip of your fretboard, and fretting technique, which is 4, speed, which is 5, and 6, muting technique. It's amazing what you can get done with just using 2 random scales and playing them, practicing them 10 minutes a day. Now, another reason why you have these increments in BPMs is because you want to make sure you have a goal, because just playing the same thing over and over again really drives down the drive to practice. It really can kill you, can kill your drive to practice. So that's why we have goals, because when we're achieving goals, no matter how big or how small they are, we get that reward of actually doing something and feeling accomplished, like we've accomplished something, because we have. So that's why this is so important. And like I said, even if you don't have a lot of time, this is just something, you can practice these 2 scales. And I gave you 2 because one would just be really boring. But I gave you these 2 scales because they will help you out. They're very simple, very easy, and also they will improve your skills. Guys, that's all the time we have for today. I hope this video helped you out. I hope you learned something. And, like this video. And like I always say, I'm Black Boy in a Band. And until next time, keep practicing. Well, guys, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you guys liked this video. If you guys have any comments or suggestions, jot them down in the comment section below. I'll throw up some more videos that I think you guys might like. One that's my last video, and just another video. Also, feel free to subscribe. I do put out new content every other Tuesday, or at least I try to in these crazy times. Also, go ahead and like this video. That helps me out. And, go ahead, share this video if you think it might help someone else out. Once again, guys, thanks for all you do. I'm Black Boy in a Band, and just remember, keep practicing.